Blip, 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 blip.
Blip, 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 bloop. Dap, doop, deep, dap, doop, dee, dee, boo, doop, da, dee, da,
Are
doop,
we
da,
gonna
da,
get
bop. Are we
copyright
recording?
struck for this? We are recording. I think
No,
that was
that was
almost
so
too
off.
perfect.
No.
It was almost too perfect. I think we're gonna get copyright struck for that.
Trash.
Nintendo is gonna fuck us.
Definitely got demonetized.
Yeah, we've been demonetized since the
deplatformed, it's all over. It's all done.
Welcome back to another episode of Going For It. We are back with the OG Sourpuss and the Booger Sniffer Professional. They are back to bring you some more football goodness. We are going to break down our picks this week, but as we've been doing as a recurring segment, our champion, first 2-week in a row champ, the OG Sourpuss, 10 correct picks this past week, has now taken over first place in the standings.
I did see that.
Very impressive. Very impressive. A 14-pick week will do that to you. A 14-pick week will propel you into the stratosphere. So congratulations to you, Mike Thomas. Feels good, I'm sure.
It does. It's the best winning football that I've got going on, whether it's the Steelers or it's the fantasy football gods. The pick'em has been good for me the last 2 weeks. That is about it. But I did message both of you early in the day, like with a screenshot of our early games, and we just got all of them wrong. And it's like, how is this a thing? Why are we so bad at this?
We have a podcast about this sport, and we are terrible at picking.
Well, no, 14 is very good. 14 is the opposite of terrible. It's just, some weeks.
But that was last week. That was not this week.
Right.
This week was a rough week for everyone. I'll say everyone. Even Mike from the 14 to the 10.
It was a pretty big step back.
Couldn't have done like a 12.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't buy into Jacksonville being good in London. I just couldn't do it. I thought that game was in Germany.
Home.
That's what screwed me up.
Home. That's true.
Wait, he went 10-4 because it was the first bye week, I think, and that's like a 12 in a non-bye week.
Yeah, but don't hype up his confidence, Craig. I'm trying to smush it down.
No, you don't know this man. What I'm doing will affect him negatively far worse than what you're doing.
Yeah, no, you're reinforcing, Pat, what I already believe to be true.
That's
Craig's ensuing doubt.
I'm planting seeds, Patrick. Come on, man.
Craig, I agree with everything you say. Let's get into another Thursday night game that I think is probably going to be very boring. I will not be watching. I'll be watching the Phillies hopefully kick the shit out of the Atlanta Braves. Denver versus KC in Kansas City. This feels like an easy game for Patty Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. How are we feeling about this? Craig Brooks, I'm going to start off with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Chiefs end up winning because they find ways to win no matter what. But I actually don't know if it's going to be as much of a cakewalk as it would look of like what other teams have done to Denver. Although Denver kind of struck back last week. They didn't really like win or anything like that, but they were getting there. No, right. They won earlier in the season. I can't even remember who they beat, but it gets worse and worse for that team. Every week Denver does bad. But I think that we're going to see in the next couple weeks one of those, this is going to happen between Carolina, Denver, the Bears. Like these teams are going to beat somebody they shouldn't. That's what's going to happen. I'm not saying that's on Thursday, but it is a little perfect for it to be on a Thursday. Those are already games that...
Trap games.
Yes, you don't see as much, let's call it gas from high-powered offenses. You don't always see that. Sometimes it catches up at the second half and you get a really nice thing, but I am not saying Kansas City loses this. I just think they also haven't shown dominance this year. They're one we always are going to talk about in it, and they deserve that. But not just us, but no one's really talking about them in the way they're talking about like the Niners right now, or even the way the Bills are playing right now on both sides of the ball. So I will be watching because baseball is nearly dead to me. It's just very boring. Can't really get there. I'd rather watch a hockey game at this point, and that just came back.
I'll watch that as well.
Yeah, I know you do. But college football took over my baseball allotted time, and I have no regrets. There was a lot of excitement around it. It's too close. But anyway,
I lock
Kansas
in
City.
for postseason. I watch some sporadically throughout the season. And the Phillies won 10-2 tonight, so that was an exciting...
You're also a Phillies fan, so here's the thing.
If
the Yankees were more relevant, I would still be avoiding, like, all regular season unless I attend a game. But
Sure.
I would watch playoffs with David and things like that we would like that. But I can't say I'm a locked in watch all of it. Even the last couple times they were playoff relevant, I missed games. I can admit that. That's what's better about football. There's fewer, more important
162
interactions.
is a lot. 162 is a big number. It's a big number. Mike Thomas, Kansas City kind of looked like shit against the Jets, and it was 2 weeks ago, and it was concerning. They almost shit the bed there. Patty Mahomes did not look like Patty Mahomes. I don't want to get too far into this, but what are your thoughts on this Denver Chiefs matchup?
Denver's defense is not the Jets' defense.
That's
so
true.
I'm not too worried about it, but Craig kind of was talking about this. Boy, this feels like the type of game. Like, wouldn't it just be peak NFL for Denver to win this game?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we these games happen. You throw your hands up and you're like, how? Why did the writers do this season to us? And this feels like that type of game. And Kansas City is one where a lot of people are still super hyped about them, and just because of Patrick Mahomes and everything revolved around the team, there's always going to be excitement there. There's always going to be people thinking that they're really, really good. But I've watched a lot of their games this year, and they're all just kind of like they're doing enough to win those games.
That's not new.
It's not new.
They've done that in years past.
And they've dominated in the years where they've started off kind of slow, but winning. They've ended up dominating. So I'm not concerned about them for the season, but it would be so peak NFL if Denver wins this stupid game.
It really would be. It would be such an NFL move for Kansas City to drop a Thursday night game against Denver. Everyone in Denver be like, we're back, for them to lose out the rest of the season.
But Denver kind of needs it. So you can see why, if we're going to play the game of like the writers, that would be what they would do. Because the city needs it. Sean Payton theoretically should be on a hot seat. Nothing's really going right there. Russ is performing well, and the team is
Russ
trash.
Looks good. Yeah,
Russ looks fine. Good is a nice compliment. He's not like Russ of old, but the numbers are good, and he's taking care of the ball. That last play did hurt them because they could have won that game. They could have won the game, but he just kind of. But
the amount of people that continue to dunk on Russ, former teammates, is just astounding to me.
Marshawn again.
I don't think he's a great teammate, is what we're learning. Nothing to say about his.
It's a shock. I mean, if you remember him from his peak Seattle days, you'd be like, "This is the perfect guy."
The optics were different, and social media wasn't as prevalent. So if you go back, didn't they win way back like 13, 14 or 12 even?
Yeah.
It's not that long ago. I think if we look at his Super Bowl
rookie year
win,
or his year after, it was like,
I don't think it was rookie year. I think it was his second year. He's 34 years old. They won the Super Bowl in 50. This would have been 2014. They were the champion for the 2013 season. So social media was not at the fever pitch it is now, where it became the news, right? It like is, right? And the way people talk about things. So the facts coming out over time are so bad for how he is as in the building, which, Mike, you made a fair point. That was not, no one was aware of that. Pat, you liked the guy, still do, I think, from many aspects. You met him, he was cool. But
he was as cool as you could be after that flight and travel and getting there and doing shit during the day and then going out with your family that night. As cool as you could be in that scenario.
Hey, he was chill, and they let you play 1-2 step right all up on him. Up on him.
Well, that was requested. I would never actually do that. I was over my dead fucking body while I play a Sierra song.
Mike, he was there playing music, and Sierra and Russ showed up. I don't know if you remember the context, Mike.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, play a Sierra song. And I was like, no, never. I will never do it.
I would have done it.
Well, they got her blessing to do it. And I was like, now we're playing all the Sierra songs. If she's given her blessing, we are going to just jam out to the discography of Sierra.
Smart play.
But Anyway, we will talk more about this in our Thursday night preview. I also feel good about Kansas City's chances here, but very worried. They feel like they're a wide receiver away to
Yeah,
me.
absolutely.
Kelsey has his, and we'll talk about this in the Thursday night game, Thursday night preview. He's got his lowest yards per catch. His average depth of target is down this year. He's not getting as those free runs that he normally gets year after year. He's 34 this year. He's dealing with 2 lower body injuries. I think we're in a transition period for what this dynasty is. So we'll get there, but I still think Kansas City pulls us out just because talent at quarterback wins you games. Speaking of talent at quarterback, Baltimore versus Tennessee. These are quarterbacks that I have question marks about. Ryan Tannehill, because he's basically a ghost. His arm is nearly transparent, and Lamar Jackson has proven to me over the last couple of years that he will struggle in games that have a very good, well-structured defense. Mike Thomas, I'm going to throw it to you first because we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording. What are your thoughts? You see Baltimore more than Craig and I both. Break it down.
Well, I think it's pretty well documented that when Lamar plays against the Steelers, he tends to play like trash. The Steelers defense has his number. So as far as I'm concerned, he's just not very good because I only ever see him when he's just really struggling. That being said, he did not get any help from his offense after that first quarter on Sunday. They were dropping everything. It got to the point where the ball's getting lobbed to them and they're wide open. They're like, I'm going to sit. I'm just going to sit and fall down. That's what I'm going to do here.
In fantasy.
They definitely did not play very well. I expect them to rebound and score a lot of points this week, but I've just never really felt worried about Lamar when the Steelers play him. I'm not worried about like, oh, here's a quarterback who could carve us up with his legs and he can throw darts and he can do all these things. Like I'm not worried about him going out there and winning a game by himself. And there are a lot of good quarterbacks out there that I do worry about that.
Lamar of 2019 is not here anymore, right? Not just because we're 4 years after, but he doesn't even play the same way. Mike, would you say back then, though, in those games, you would have had that fear? That MVP season, I imagine that would have been like, oh shit, we're playing Lamar. He going to steal one from us. Or you never had it?
I never had it.
Wow. Because he was epic that year.
That year was nuts.
Now, one thing I'll say, while I really feel like he has dropped the whole tier down, no joke, he got more accurate with his throws. He's just not throwing that much. So he's actually improved aspects of the game you want. So what I mean by this is he just signed a long-term extension, as they are in football. I think a 5-year, as long as it gets, right, kind of thing. So yeah, it's not baseball, it's not hockey, or they don't have the long-termers like that unless your name's Patty Mahomes. But Lamar is improving at a thing we would want to see a quarterback improve at. He's still getting the rush yards in. He has 4 rushing touchdowns on the year. But if you look at his passing stats, they're very middle of the road and down. They're meh yardage, very meh TDs. That's not going to get you there. They're losing the division to a very bad Steeler offense, but a very good Steeler defense. So I just think he has dropped a whole tier down for me from where he was.
Well, and the thing that you mentioned, which I love, is the rushing touchdowns, because that's where he gets fantasy relevance. And I feel like that's where a lot of people think like, oh, Lamar's this guy, he's this guy, but he also has 7 fumbles on the year so far, and he's lost 4.
That's so many already.
4 so that's 6 turnovers of the ball,
more than
by
one game.
Lamar Jackson. It's not great.
No.
Optically. It's, I don't know. Lamar is
the money showed up. The
Yes.
money showed up, and that can
In
do
the
one
big
of
way.
2 things. You either become the person that dedicates yourself to your everything, and you go the JJ Watt route or the Tom Brady route or whatever, or other people just continue what they were already doing. And again, he was already working on his passing game. We're actually seeing that. That's going fine. but it will not be enough. That is not going to be a team that wins multiple playoff games the way they look right now.
So was that that was the 2019 season that he won the MVP award?
I thought so, but I might be off on my year. I thought he won it in 19 pre-COVID.
Because I had to go back and check my memory, and I checked those games. And so, yes, the Ravens won both of those games against the Steelers, but he didn't play the second one, and he had 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown and under 200 passing yards in the first one, and that was the Mason Rudolph and Duck season. So it was like
Steelers have his number, though. They have his number more than other teams. And we see that a lot in division rivalries, that's one of the most epic rivalries of my football watching. I think it's equal for you, but as a Steeler fan, but I've always liked those games.
Oh yeah, there was a really cool video. I don't know if you guys saw. Somebody took video of Tomlin and Harbaugh talking before the game, and they were reminiscing about how long they've been doing this rivalry. And they were like, I remember we were doing these games talking about our kids going trick-or-treating, and now they're fully grown adults. That's how long adults. That puts it into perspective. It's really cool because this is one of those rivalries where the teams and the fan bases, some of the fan bases are, foolish, but usually it's one of those where it's like you respect the other team. You want them to fail miserably. You don't like them. You hate them. You get fired up for these weeks, but you also kind of feel like if I wasn't a Steelers fan, I might be a Ravens fan because they're very similar to us.
Respectful disrespect.
Whereas when it's the Browns and Bengals, it's like, no, screw them. They're terrible football teams.
Absolutely terrible.
So before we pivot away into some games that are going to be less exciting to talk about, Mike, I'm going to start with you. Is Lamar Jackson a top 10 quarterback in the league right now?
When he's not playing the Steelers?
I don't even think he is. I don't think he is
Craig,
even when he's not. No, I think he's in the second, third now. I think if you went down the list and you were choosing like who would I pick right now, whether even from a fantasy perspective, fantasy or actually who I want, he's talented, he's great. I mean, again, if you look at his season stats, these 21, 22, and right now, I think we know what he is now. I think we have enough years now that do not match 19 and 20. And that was iconic and that was great.
Oh my God.
That's Cam
Unstoppable.
Newton. That's Cam Newton, right?
Exactly.
You had that 1 year that was epic. Lamar got 2 that I wouldn't call the second one epic. I would say it was also very decent, where he went over 1,000 yards rushing both years. He's only got 265 so far this year. I don't think that equates. I think he would come under, and it'd be most likely end up similar to 21 or 22. He also didn't play full seasons those years, so this could be a big thing. If he stays healthy and gets all the way through the year, statistically, I think people will be like, oh, wow, okay, he's top 12, he's top 10. But right now,
901 is what it puts him at.
Yeah.
At what he's running right on average. I put him in the 12 to 15 range for me. Depending on the team, there's a lot of guys I would take over Lamar currently. Just not, and honestly, it's not even the fact that like you're right. He's throwing more accurately. He's got some over 200 yard games, which is great. He's not throwing for touchdowns, which is a problem. He's not throwing to touchdowns at wide receivers. They're only for Mark Andrews, who also has injury issues, and he doesn't have good ball security. That is bad. Those are two very, very problematic things.
That's the worst thing, though. The whole job, you can get by and win a whole damn ship when you got a good team if you just hold on to the ball. If you just hold on to the ball and get it shortly and quick handoff, you know what I mean? Like you can win Super Bowls that way. But
I'm looking at some of the quarterbacks, and I think I can name at least 10 quarterbacks that without question we would all put ahead of. I think the only one there's 2 that I think are questionable.
Go do it.
I'm ready for it.
I want it.
Brock Purdy.
No,
nope, I take
what
Brock
the fuck are you saying? What are you saying? That got me emotional quick. What are you? What? I
didn't know if he had been around long enough.
No, his accuracy puts him above Lamar.
Fair. I like that you brought that up though, because that brings a whole important thing to cover. Because I think people are out there. And yes, Purdy is in year 2, and we've only seen now 9 starts. No, more than that now. Sorry, it was 8 last year.
10 or 11.
So
it's
13.
Something like that.
He's undefeated starting in the NFL across those games. We're now into a second season. He's already recovered from a major surgery. So I don't ever want to make it like, oh, he's too young. I'm looking at it as it is what it is right now. And I watched, I think 2 full games that they played. Even under stress, he was able to come back after big sacks, after big kind of moments that went poorly, and put the ball in spots. He might be top 5 if you really look at what he's doing right now in terms of accuracy, protecting the ball.
Weapons. He's got the
does.
weapons to put
He's
him
got
in
the
that
best
conversation.
weapons in the league. But there was a narrative out there, and again, I heard a little bit more on McAfee, that people were talking like, oh, you could put a guy like Mac Jones in that system and he would do it. No, you can't, because it's all about putting the ball in the right place. People said that about Tua as well. Oh, okay, with all these no, there's a talent to being able to put it on a dime. And Purdy is fun to watch right now. I've only watched the 2 games this season, but I saw a shit ton of them last year because it was a huge story and he ran through the playoffs also.
So what I'll say about Purdy before we get to our second quarterback is that this is base level Purdy. Like, the thing that a lot of us aren't remembering or misremembering is that his offseason was rehab. He did not do anything to better himself as a quarterback this offseason because his throwing elbow was fucked.
It's busted. And don't we know? Wait a minute.
Next
they
2,
had
3, 4 years.
All
where's
those
this
same
kid's ceiling?
Weapons were there last year. All the same weapons. CMC was there. And what happened when he left the game? Oh, it's over. Like, might as well forfeit. You know, it's over. His impact is being downplayed by how good the weapons are around him. But that would be like saying Kurt Warner wasn't that good for the greatest show on turf because he had the greatest assets. No, Kurt Warner was pretty fucking good. He made it happen. So I know you weren't shitting on Purdy. You were proposing that it almost felt premature to get him up there. But I think he's straight earning it. Sorry to cut you off on. I want to know the other one you don't want ahead of it, but I would take that guy 10 out of 10 times over Lamar.
Well, no, I put both of these guys, I think, over Lamar too. And I got 2 more names for you, and we'll keep this real quick.
Ready.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, I take him over.
Take him over Lamar. The upside.
How about Dak Prescott?
Ooh.
No,
right
I don't
now
take Dak
I have
over
him
Lamar.
Under Lamar right now. Lamar.
They are on the same level. And I just running through the list, it's like Tua, Kirk, Stafford, I would take over, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Purdy, Goff, Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert. That's over 10 there.
I think I would also take CJ Stroud right now.
I skipped over him just because he's a rookie, but he could definitely go up there.
I'm just basing it on what I'm seeing right now. He is at the caliber faster than we've, I believe, ever seen. At the caliber of QB, insane. Where it's not just the legs. It's not just his legs. In fact, he's like 3rd in the league in yardage. He's doing well. He's averaging almost 300 yards a game. Yeah, I think that Mike laying it out that way made it clear that I think for both of us, Pat, we're in the 15-ish, 12, 15-ish
yeah,
range.
I think 12 to 15 might actually be high. I think he might actually be
we forgot
14.
Just because he's performing bad. We didn't even say his name.
Yep, I did. I didn't go. I was going based on the passing yards for the year and kind of running down, and he's far down the list. I didn't get Burrow. To him.
So I would say he's probably actually in that like 14 to 18 range.
I know.
Instead of 12, which is crazy.
160 million.
That's a dumb amount of money. I want to channel. I would love to keep talking about this. We have other games we have to get to. We'll make this one quick because I don't think we really give a shit about this game. But Washington versus Atlanta. I love how gritty and like tough Washington is. Atlanta's going to crush them in this game, I think. Desmond Ridder actually played good football the other last weekend. That was kind of cool to see. And Bijan's a stud. Bijan is a stud. No one can keep him down. Craig Brooks, I'm going to go to you real quick.
I actually want to talk about this game for a really long time. Like a lot of minutes in a row.
Sam Howell, SAMHO.
Hey, some of what Washington has done this season is fun to watch. Brian Robinson's had some moments. Scary Terry's done some cool things. I think Dotson as well. And Howell's had like exceptionally good moments and then terrible moments. Like two
very high peaks and valleys.
Yeah, it's a Jekyll Hyde. Full. Like, what are you going to get? And you don't know, and they'll never know. And those fans will never know either. But Atlanta, and you nailed it, Desmond Ridder earned like a lot of people's respect, not just ours last week, when you saw him locked in and what he was doing. And that, I think they had like under a minute to get where they needed to go to win that game. They were not meant to win with how poor he specifically had been playing in those tough moments. He put balls on spots. He put it in the right people's hands. Bijan's obscene. That whole run game is good, by the way. Even their second and third. I think they still have Algier. And Cordell Patterson is not yet back. And I think no one's even talking about it, but that just would add a very interesting slot sweep move
He's like
guy
the
for them.
return guy right now. He's like
Yes,
the return man.
I believe they're working him back in due to the injury or whatever he was out for. So he's getting worked back in. But you definitely don't give it to him over Bijan. You give it to Bijan. I mean, he's so good. So yeah, I think the easy pick is Atlanta, but I would love to see some this will be on Sunday, I think. I'd love to see some red zone highlights on this one.
Mike Thomas, what do you got?
Stupid NFL. It's like, oh, Washington plays good. Oh, nope. Next week they play like crap. Atlanta, multiple weeks of them playing like crap.
Raiders.
1 week where they play well, and now Atlanta's favored at home against Washington, and I don't know what to do. I guess I'm going to take Atlanta.
Back-to-back stud. Come on. Make a pick.
Bijan is good. Bijan's real good.
He's very good.
If he can stay healthy, I'm very excited to see what happens with this young man.
That one-handed grab from behind him, I didn't even realize what I was seeing the first couple replays I saw. It wasn't until I saw a replay where somebody kind of zoomed in on that catch that I even realized, like, oh, that was a monster catch that he made for that touchdown.
My favorite.
So I'll take Atlanta at home.
That overhead view of him doing his cuts. Did you catch that?
Shakes. Yeah.
And I know a lot of the guys would look cool from that angle too, but you could see at such an early age the vision that he's got, which hurts me as a Dolphin fan. I know we'll get to it. Our big weapon is going to be out for a while. He's going to be gone for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe even 4 to 8. No, Anthony Richardson was 4 to 8, but we're at least 4, I think.
4 to 6. Yeah.
For HN, yeah. Mm-hmm. So sorry, but yeah, Bijan definitely the number one rookie, I think. Which ironic because HN had more yardage and stuff, but I just think everyone would look at the two of them and be like, Bijan.
Bijan for sure. Minnesota, Chicago. This one's kind of interesting. Divisional game. Minnesota, Justin Jefferson hurt out. I believe he's on injured reserve.
Rex, you and me. We both had the stack in a league.
Chicago looked really, really good last on Thursday night. Very surprised. DJ Moore should have had 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards receiving, which is a stupid thing to say when awesome. Literally all of his yards were from all of Justin Fields' throwing yards were from DJ Moore, which I'm about because I have DJ Moore. So like, let's keep it going.
He's going to. Don't worry.
Yeah, I believe that. Kirk Cousins, it is rumored, is willing to waive his no trade clause if presented with the correct opportunity. So I want to make our picks for this game and also say where you think Kirky should go. I'm going to take Chicago in this game. I think Minnesota's got a hard enough time right now with non-Justin Jefferson weapons, and I feel like Kirk's going to be sad, and sad Kirk don't throw a ball good. So give me Chicago, and I'd like to see Kirk Cousins go to Tennessee. I would like to see what Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears could do with a competent quarterback who was not a ghost. That is what I think. Craig Brooks, I'm going to go to you first.
It hurts me so badly. I might not be able to see, feel and know the right things here because Jefferson was my cornerstone of a fantasy team, and really things are going to be grim for a little bit when you were getting such good production. He was crushing it. He was at 150 yards a game. He was a couple touchdowns here and there. It's going to hurt Minnesota bad to lose him. That kind of production, you don't just redisperse. He's special. So you don't just take those yards and go, oh yeah, it's going to go across these other 3 guys. It don't work that way because he catches stuff other people can't. He makes Kirk's life easier. He runs phenomenal routes. He's a unicorn. So I'm with you. I actually think the Chicago makes a move here and actually gains a little momentum, which is very good for the Field story because he's played a couple good games as a quarterback in a row. So this could be a lot of that. And to the DJ Moore point, I heard a stat that his passer rating throwing to DJ Moore is still perfect. Since they've been together, he has a perfect passer rating to DJ Moore, meaning he's finding them in open. They're not having even drops or misses and stuff. I know it's only been this one season, but to have a connection like that quickly is going very well. Now, more important, I did not hear about the trade thing. I thought he was not willing to ever waive it.
With the injury to Jefferson, there is
That's compelling.
There is some talk amongst the interwebs.
That would be okay. If the script writers really want us all to be jazzed up, that is a move that happens mid-season. That would be very fun because we've talked about Kirk on this program, and even his numbers this year, he's good. He can still do it at a high level. Oh shit, he's got a notepad.
Speaking of the numbers, the last Mike, Craig, where do you want to see Kirk end up?
The Jets is I think the cool story, and I think
he's going to get driven into the ground by that offensive line is still
and then he would make all those groans, and then it would be just
Mike Thomas.
I'm also taking Chicago to win this game, not only because of Justin Jefferson, but because Chicago traded Chase Claypool, and there is a history of teams playing better after getting rid of him. So I don't know what Miami was thinking, even getting him for free.
It's basically free.
They basically got Chase Claypool for nothing. I think they swapped the last round picks in next year's draft.
Yeah. They gave him the middle finger via trade.
Yeah. So he's just, I don't know. It seems like he's a cancer in the locker room.
Seems like it
based on a little bit. The reactions out of Pittsburgh and then the reactions in Chicago. So really interesting to see what happens there. But I think Chicago, you get a distraction like that out of the locker room. You start playing better. You're going up against a team with a weaker defense who's lost their best player and arguably the best wide receiver in the entire NFL. How are they going to come back from that? Chicago's at home too. Yeah, I'm taking Chicago in this one.
So I'm going to save notepad information until this is one of our matinee previews. So I'm going to put this to the side for now. We'll come back into it because we also have to discuss the possible future of Justin Jefferson. Is not signed past next year. Does he want to be a part of a rebuilding team? What does that look like? What is a return you need to see back for Kirk Cousins in order to get some infusion of youth in here? So curious. Seattle versus Cincy. I'm excited for this because it looks like the Bengals are back. Burrow was throwing the ball all over the yard. Granted, it was against Arizona, whose defense is just kind of fine. But Seattle versus Cincy. I'm taking Cincy. Mike Thomas, I'm going to start with you.
Even I will also take Cincy. They played very well last week. I hate to see it, but I also will choose to believe it and just pick them every week now.
Craig Brooks.
I'm taking Seattle, but I think it's going to be a bit more of a shootout. They actually have that sneaky good offense. They had the best offense last year, and no one remembers that for whatever reason. Statistically,
and they're coming off a bye, so
they did. I mean, they've got the right momentum. Geno's still playing well. DK's good. Lockett's good. Kenneth Walker leveled up, literally went up a notch. And I just think that while the Burrow might be back, and they can do well in that division because the Browns are the Steelers are only winning when TJ Watt is being this version of TJ Watt and a few other guys. There's some other guys on defense that matter as well. Yeah. Well, they got to keep him playing. They got to let him play. He's very good. Let him play.
That's correct.
But yeah, I think the Bengals lose this one, but then roar back from 2-4 to end up with 10, 11 wins and win that division.
I also think they're going to end up winning the division. I think they've proven time and time again they're a second half team. So curious to see what happens there. San Francisco, Cleveland. Can we just say San Francisco and move on? Is that any objections here?
Yeah, I don't see it. It's a trap opportunity, right? There always is that where it's so hard to believe we're going to see an undefeated team ever. So, and there's only 2 left right now. It just feels like any given week they're going to drop to someone we don't expect. But there's no scenario other than injury, which I do not want, where the 49ers should even have this be close. They're hurting.
Well, Cleveland's got a good defense.
Dallas had a good defense too.
That's true.
Before they got hurt.
We will not have 2 undefeated teams past December 3rd.
They play each other
because the Niners play the Eagles.
That's going to be a hell of a game. I hope they're undefeated till then. That'd be really fun.
That would be
So, Mike, you're saying that the Browns D
I'm saying if
better
this
than the
if the
Dallas D.
49ers drop a game, there's going to be some type of weird thing that you're going to be able to look at afterwards and be like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And all I'll say is Cleveland, they're coming off a bye. They've got an amazing defense. They're at home. It's cross country. It's a 1:00 game for the 49ers. The 49ers are coming off of that was a Sunday night game.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
You're right.
So it's like a little bit less of a shorter week. They've had success East Coast 1:00 games lately, but the last one that I remember was week 1 against Pittsburgh. So I mean that's the first week of the season. It doesn't really count for that stuff. So there's all these things that are kind of lining up that if we look after the fact and Cleveland wins, you go, all right, that kind of makes sense. Now the thing that doesn't make sense for Cleveland is Deshaun Watson. This guy, is he hurt? What? Why is he not practicing? What's he hurt with?
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know.
I saw the last game before this all started, and he was like, he took a hit, but he came back out. So I don't know what happened where it became that he's not practicing and he didn't play. I forget who did play. Who started for them?
Their rookie DTR or something like that. I can't remember.
I don't even know him.
Sorry, I'm looking for. I've already moved past this game mentally because San Francisco is going to crush the Browns in like an embarrassing fashion, is what I feel.
Miami should also crush the Panthers in embarrassing fashion.
I'm trying to see if we have any update other on Jalen Ramsey, but it seems like he's just doing
another
sprints.
week. He's running.
He's not yet cutting.
No, we're not. I think we're a couple weeks away. But Carolina looks not good. Bryce Young looks like the worst of the 3 rookie QBs. He is right now, actually, the worst of the 3.
He's got the least amount of help, too. He has the least. They traded all of their options, of their everything. And
Thielen's got a resurgence, 100 yards a game.
It's because he's the only fucking guy there that knows how to catch a ball.
That's true.
Anyway, San Francisco, I think, over Cleveland. Even if Deshaun's there, he makes bad plays. San Fran has proven if you make 2 to 3 mistakes a game, which Deshaun makes that and then possibly more, they will capitalize on that. Whether it's with field goals, touchdowns, whatever. Deshaun is not the Deshaun.
Sounds like you don't think he's very good at making good decisions.
I think that he makes a lot of poor choices, both on the football field and off of it.
Anytime a towel is near, he makes bad decisions. So you got to have the whole team get the towels off. He can't see a towel or he's not his best self.
Triggering. Carolina versus Miami. Yeah, Miami should blow this one out. I don't think Carolina has.
What's the spread?
Dogs.
It would have to be.
I think it was
gross.
12 last time I looked, but
13.5 on Yahoo.
Holy shit!
I still might take it. I would still think about taking it.
Oh yeah, because McDaniel wants to make sure they get into form. It's not running up the score in the NFL anymore. You can't take your foot off the gas. People are coming back from 4 scores.
And Achane, as electric as he's been and as wonderful as he's been, Mostert was doing the same shit the first 3.5
I know, but it was helping for the durability. But
Jeff Wilson is also back.
I know, that's exciting.
He will slot into that. I have both of those guys on my fucking
And Wilson has a little bit more to prove because this rookie just showed up with lightning. Wilson's fast too. He was one of the speedsters too. Now, no one was as fast as Achane, but I think Wilson's got more to prove. So if you see some of those, and they're schemed this way, some of those schemed holes, they're gaping, by the way. They're massive. Because I've watched all the Miami games this season. It's kind of crazy how big of a push that O-line is getting through whatever they're doing scheme-wise. Because these guys get a 6-yard running start. It's why he's averaging so much. He's got the 75-yarders, but even a regular run from him, he's not bouncing off people. He's untouched for 6, going full steam at people who are standing still.
Yeah, the linebackers have no time to converge on him because the interior defensive line doesn't even get a hand on him. He is through the line immediately.
He's through it.
Out of the second level. And then it's like, all right, safety, what are you going to do?
You're on an island and you have to choose correctly. It's a soccer goalie situation.
It's impressive, but Miami all day here. Even with the points, I'd still take Miami.
I will also take Miami at home in a very boring game for everybody that's not a Dolphins fan.
How dare you?
I got Jalen Waddle on my fantasy team, Raheem Mostert, and Wilson. Stashed Wilson on the IR. And then, unfortunately, Achan got hurt. So you never want the people to get hurt. But like brings Raheem Mostert back to fantasy relevance for me. And I got Wilson, so I can we're good. I'm in a good place. Very excited.
I am projected more points from Mostert than ever before. So that is very nice, which means it will not happen. I know that. But
that 4 tutty game was nice. I was a big fan of that.
Dude.
It was great. Indy versus Jacksonville. As excited to see Gardner Minshew as I am, I think Jacksonville just has a better defense than Indy has an offense. And Trevor Lawrence looks like he's starting to sort of figure it out again. They've been in a really weird place this season. It feels like this should have been their division to run away with, and they really haven't done that yet.
They're in the lead.
But yeah, but like they haven't put their foot on anybody's neck.
Not yet.
And I kind of expected them to really like solidify their dominance. So I'm going to take Jacksonville here. No, Anthony Richardson hurts Indy. He is that, blue chip guy you need to be able to even out the playing field a little bit. Mike Thomas, I'm going to go to you first. Who you taking, Indy versus Jacksonville?
Well, with Anthony Richardson being hurt and gone for over a month, it looks like.
Oh yeah. 4 to 8.
I think it just also feels like we're back on the train of Jacksonville. Are they good? Are they not good? What is it going to be this week? Spin the goddamn wheel and see what happens. If it comes up with, double aces, they're going to be good. And it could also come up where it's like, nah, you live in Duval County, and they're going to just drop the ball. So I don't feel good about it. I'm going to take Jacksonville at home to win this game. I'm also just not a believer in Indianapolis, and I'm not buying the Jonathan Taylor is going to be great right off the bat. Like I'm seeing, at least in fantasy football, I'm seeing him ranked in the top 10 for the rest of the season, and I just don't buy that. I don't buy that.
Craig Brooks.
By the last half of the year, I think he will be super relevant once he gets some momentum. But yeah, I think it needs a couple games. Plus, Moss made it very clear he's not interested in not existing in the game plan. And what I don't think Shane Steichen ignores that, right? The guy is a running guru. He's not going to ignore that he now has another weapon. So JT's not going to get 3 years ago and 2 years ago snap counts. You have more. You even want to conserve him anyway. You also just re-signed him to a large deal. I gotta pick Jacksonville because I think you guys are being a little disrespectful to Duval County and what they're doing. They're the kings of London. They own London. They win all the games in London.
They are the kings of London.
You will respect Duval County. They are great when they are as far away from Duval County as they can get.
That's right. They're leading the division. They do need to shore up some things, but they're in a division that's winnable. So I still think they're going to do that. And that's when things get most exciting. And maybe, we don't know this yet, maybe they react best when the lights are brightest, which is what we saw last season with the big playoff win, when things, or the run up to get into the playoffs even. So Jacksonville for me, but I am optimistic that the Colts, another thing you guys were very disrespectful about is Gardner's probably got 5 wins in him as a starter, 5 or 6. There's certain guys like him or Heineke or these certain moments where they can come in what looks like an extended role and win games. It's when they have to start the whole season, they get exposed and they can't do that anymore.
Well, it sort of feels like Gardner is going to have to play this whole season. We talk about it's a consistent thing within our group chat because Craig at the beginning of the season was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit on Anthony Richardson.
When he's on the field, it's good.
And I agree with that. And my issue is always with his decision making.
It's bad.
It goes back to Florida. It goes back to he does not protect the ball well, and he does not protect himself well. Worse, the himself part is worse than the ball part. So in order to, and if it's a surgery on the throwing shoulder, that's already bad. At this point in your career, you're this young. To already have a surgery on your throwing shoulder if it's surgery. I don't remember. I know they said it was a sprained AC joint, but sometimes that requires surgery. Other times it's rehab. So I don't know where he falls on that spectrum.
Rooting for rehab.
it's yeah, for sure rehab, but you got to take care of yourself, man. You got to take care of yourself. You got to slide.
He's
Fucking
not good at
go
that
to
yet.
a baseball school, learn how to slide, go to the school of Russell Wilson, and just go down, man. Just go down. You don't have to fight for those yards. But also, Craig brought up a great point I wanted to add to it. Shane Steichen, running guru. Philly has run with a stable of running backs since he came in and integrated his offense. That's why would he not do that here in Indy now, seeing that Zach Moss can be a dude, Jonathan Taylor is a dude. That just feels perfect for what his offense is able to do. And then you get Anthony Richardson, hopefully back healthy, hopefully back willing to take a little less damage in that Jalen Hurts role. Things could really start going really well for Indy in a very quick way. And you see the path. It's just a lot of it depends on them shoring up their weapons and Richardson taking a step in the mentals.
But that's
like,
Steichen's job now. And I think he knows that.
Yeah.
I think his job and his quarterback coach and the coordinator, they all get together. And the job is to make sure that we use this guy like we did Jalen, because I think that backfield with JT and Moss is better than what they had in Philly for the I don't even remember who it was, who the number one was last year.
Miles Sanders,
right, who moved
Kenneth
to Carolina.
Gainwell, Boston Scott.
Right.
Yeah.
This if they get it right, you nailed that the trajectory and the optimism deserves to be there, especially if Gardner can steal a few wins. Doesn't even have to win all of them over these next 6-ish weeks. But if AR comes back and they've been able to get through to him that like, no, we want you for a while here, man. Let's follow the program. You could still do dynamic things, but we need you to do them in space and get down. You don't do dynamic things through the all the, what do you call it? A through holes. He doesn't need to do that. It would only be draws that have 6-yard buffers. We don't need him going between the tackles, right? We need him in open space and sliding. So I think you nailed it. They might be very good by the end of this year, if not next year.
It could be. They need a little bit of infusion of talent, I think, on the wide receiver end. I think they could use one of those,
Justin Jefferson
types of, who knows, Zach Ertz types at tight end. I'm not a big believer in Wiley Cox. He's awesome and he's cool and he's got an awesome name, but like I think they need that guy that they can have as a security blanket for Richardson.
They have a 6 foot
Jeremy Shockey and Eli.
They have like a 6'7", 6'8".
Woods.
They never throw to him.
They don't use him.
Never.
So, yeah,
he must be a bad person or something. You said that.
Maybe it was me. I said that. New Orleans versus Houston. Give me Houston. CJ Stroud.
Yes.
In CJ Stroud,
Me
I trust.
Too.
And I think that defense has taken such a big step this year under. Oh my God, his name just jumped out of my head, but. I believe in Houston. New Orleans, even though they spanked the shit out of New England last week, everything I've seen from them on offense is like really concerning. They do not look good.
Name the two.
So I'm going Houston.
Name the two starters that have only two quarterback starters who've not thrown a pick.
CJ Stroud and no, Purdy's thrown 2, right? No, he hasn't thrown one?
Zero picks. Purdy and CJ Stroud are the only two to not throw a pick. In CJ, we trust is right. Like, Houston fans should be very excited because you were supposed to continue sucking for another bit, and then it was going to get good. All these early picks adding up. It's looking good now, and now you can really even attract better talent for free agency.
And like, Lamar's only 26. I take CJ over Lamar right now.
Oh yeah.
Right now I take CJ over Lamar.
Yes.
And it's not close.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I'm not hemming and hawing like, well, like no, give me CJ because you need to throw the ball to win in this league.
But
and
he's
that
only
fucking dude can throw the ball.
He's 5 games in. This is either going to be a tragic scenario where he just doesn't reach what we would think potential is.
Flames out.
Right? Or we are seeing the worst this guy can be. He's going to work in the NFL, learn more about the NFL if he takes it seriously the way Patrick Mahomes did, right? Patrick Mahomes took things seriously. He did not enter the league and immediately was MVP. He needed a half and a full season after that. It was this shit takes time. But for the guys that really turn it and commit, holy moly, he's got what looks like could be some of the best starter wood, if you will, for the biggest fire. Like, it's exciting as a football fan that every year we like to see, like, oh my God, do we have a guy? Could there be a guy? Is there going to be someone that we're going to care about for a long time? I want more of it. Even though the Texans, who cares, whatever, I'd still want only Miami to defeat them if it ever mattered.
I want to see it.
I want to see it. I want to see what he could do. Get that man some more receivers, because what he was able to do with people we've never heard of is exceptional. So you put some real talent there and those other people that have grown to be exceptional, Houston Texans could dominate a division. They were good once.
Shit could get weird.
They were good once with Schaub.
Yeah. Matt Schaub. Mike Thomas, New Orleans, Houston.
You know, I'm listening to everything you say about Stroud, and it's all correct, and I have nothing negative to say against it, except they lost on the road to Atlanta last week. What the hell?
But that was their defense, not Stroud. That was not CJ Stroud.
They only scored 19 points.
But he drove them down. Atlanta's got a good defense. Atlanta has an underrated defense.
That's true. And a very good run game.
And his offensive line is tragic. His offensive line they are backups of backups, and he's still able to throw for 300 yards.
They got to invest there, though.
No picks.
They got to invest in the line.
Well, they're taking New Orleans.
They have Tunsil, I think.
He's just hurt. They do. He's hurt.
They have another tackle that got hurt before training camp. Take New Orleans. Fuck Derek
Taking
Carr.
him.
Fuck him.
Derek Carr gets so much of your negativity, the two of you.
It's because he's mediocre.
We've got a few sweeps.
You look up mid.
Yeah.
You look at mid in the dictionary, and it's just a picture of Derek Carr.
He's one of the top 22 quarterbacks on earth, right? Like, that's...
He is.
So below average NFL quarterback.
I don't know, man. So you don't think average is what? I guess average is right at the middle then? 15? You don't give a little window?
No. 22? No. Fuck him.
No, maybe not 22. Maybe 17.
I would take Jacoby Brissett over Derek Carr.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
That's absurd. That's absurd.
Get out of here.
One thing that I have a love-hate with Jacoby Brissett, because he did fine for us as a Dolphin. I forget where he is now. He used to be on the Colts. He's around. He's
bounced around so much.
He's still a backup somewhere, but he looks like he moves in slow motion. And I just can't he's not fast by any sense of the word, but he's also confident. So he'll go for a run, and you're seeing what looks like a hybrid of one of the Manning brothers running, just a notch faster. You know what I mean? Just like one. I think Aaron Rodgers could beat him in a foot race. You know what I mean? Like
right now. He could.
He's a commander, by the way.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Of course.
So you can't even take Sam Howell's job. Pat, you're fucking ridiculous. No way. It's Derek Carr 10 out of 10 times over Jacoby Brissett.
I don't know.
Not for me.
New England versus Vegas. New England's not looking good. Some rumors coming from the Great White North that Bill Belichick's seat is getting a little hot. It is just fans. They'll never fire it. Kraft would never do it. Josh McDaniels actually coached a winning team last week.
He tried not to.
He did his best.
He makes bad decisions.
Who are we taking in this game? I'm going to take Vegas just because New England has looked literally inept the last 2 weeks, and I do not see how they get it together to go to Las Vegas. I think that's going to be a bad thing. Craig Brooks, will start with you.
No, I'm actually going to take New England in the upset because Belichick, I think, wants to mentally fuck with the previous underling.
You think he'll spank Josh?
I do. I think it's a little bit of daddy's not done.
Put him over the knee.
And what I hope, but this just never happens, I just hope he retires. He's old enough where it logically makes sense, but these guys don't do that. They literally like to die in the job for whatever reason. They don't like their family and home lives that much. You know what I mean? Like it's proven. We know this about these football dudes. But if you ever got to see him, and both of you I think have, if you see him on some of the NFL film stuff or some of those round table things they put him in, he's a compelling storyteller of like football history. Give him a role there. have him do a podcast that's video that's like it. He doesn't have to be done with football, but he should be done coaching not because he's bad at it. Not that. It's that it's a rebuild no matter what, which means we have multiple years before it'd be relevant, and he would be 75, 76. We don't need that. We don't need that.
And then you risk the game passing him by too, and then the last, half of his tenure, his last bit of legacy is worse than the first part. And,
well, that's the argument right now about his recruiting. That the recruiting is what fell apart, not necessarily the coaching is bad. It's that the caliber of talent wasn't as good as what he was able to surround them with for 2 decades. And that can happen if you're delegating a lot more. You got your long-haired mullet sons kind of doing things. You know what I mean? Like, you're not as locked in as 90s and 2000s.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah, you're not home often, so now your sons grow up to have mullets and they can't recruit football players.
You're just disappointed.
Well,
New England versus Vegas. Mike, who you taking?
I'm also going to take New England, but for different reasons. One, I've won this pick'em 2 weeks in a row, so I'm feeling just
bold,
really punch drunk.
All the confidence.
And just taking bold picks left and right. 2, I do think it has something to do with the relationship between Belichick and McDaniels, but I think McDaniels is going to do his former coach a solid. I think there's going to be a little phone call like, bro. Everything you have is because of me. You can't even do basic math. And
he might not be able to.
I don't think he can because he always makes these plays where it's like, can you do the math? Like, if we kick a field goal here, do you understand
+3.
Do you understand like how that's going to change or not change the equation? Because there's been 2 examples this season where he does the wrong thing. One, he sucks. He's
at least
terrible.
2. We don't watch Raiders games, so we don't actually know. But at least 2.
Yeah. I'm going to take New England on the road here. I think Belichick is going to go full, speaker or Spygate on this one and win this. And his spy is going to be the Raiders head coach.
What are you guys going to do? Oh, well, actually,
he calls him up.
I'm going to kick a field goal down by 8.
Yeah, give me the play. You got to let me win, Joshy boy. You got to let me win. I'm retiring. That was a very bad Belichick impersonation.
It was terrible.
It was
very bad.
You're no Julian Edelman.
He does it.
We don't need. Here's the thing: we don't need Belichick on podcasts at all. We just need Edelman on podcasts doing Belichick impressions.
Give me all Edelman on. Edelman needs to be on New Heights
He was very good. He was very good.
He
has his own something. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, but I don't care enough about him individually. If you give me the Kelceys and him, I'm in.
That's true.
I don't care about
that. Must have been that guy's life for all of it, by the way. That people were just like, oh, we love you more when you're next to Tom Brady. We love you more. So like his whole life journey.
Sorry, man.
And he's great. And he's like a Hall of Fame level great.
Oh, my God. He's hilarious.
And he's funny now.
No.
You don't think he's going to the Hall?
No.
He has multiple
I don't think he has the regular season production to get there.
Really?
Postseason he does, but I don't think he's got the regular season production.
Oh my God, is that true?
Yeah.
I'm going to Google that.
While you look that up, I want to talk Arizona Rams because I don't think this is going to take long. The next couple ones probably aren't going to take very long. I'm going to take Rams here just because Arizona's Arizona. Josh Dobbs is a great story. I fully support him. Rumor that they're moving on from Kyler. I think that's the right move for Arizona, but this team plays for this goober of a head coach. I'm still going to take the Rams. Mike Thomas.
I will also take the Rams at home against Arizona and not think too much about it.
He's so gooby. Craig Brooks, Rams, Cardinals.
It's got to be the Rams. I'm still on the McVay is one of the elite coaches in the league and finds ways to get the most out of people. Though Stafford is making more mistakes than I think most people would like to see. We have Cooper Baby Cup came back and they immediately got him involved with the game plan they have a true dual threat going now with Puka and Cooper. And that should improve Matt Stafford. But he is throwing in a lot of traffic and getting a lot of those deflection interceptions, which in many cases,
we call those Daniel Joneses. Those are called Daniel Jones passes.
Is that what they are? There's 2.
No, I thought those were when you hurt your neck while doing it.
No, that's when you get attacked for the 15th time in a game.
It's gonna be a rough year for the Giantes.
Caleb Williams.
You hope.
Yeah, I'm praying every single night. Every single night. Yeah, Rams, I think I want McVay to do well because I don't want him out of the league yet. And I know that he's already like, yeah, I'm going to be an analyst. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be with my family. And I support all of those things, but it's so much fun having creative offensive guys in the league. His coaching tree would be so great. And I just need him to be in the league for 2, 3, 4 more years. And he doesn't.
I think
if they flame out,
fair.
I think he's.
If it's 2 flames in a row, maybe. But he seemed to. I thought he signed a multi-year. He'd have to pay to get.
He
out.
did, but he's got dumb money coming in from I think CBS or ESPN or.
Did someone
sign one of those?
He signed it.
Deals.
What?
Also, Edelman only has 3,000-yard receiving years in the regular season. No way, 0% chance. Philly Jets. Philly. There's no fucking way Zach Wilson holds up against this Philly defense. Mike Thomas, going to you.
I mean, maybe if some of those Philly moms are in the stands, he'll show up in a big way. But yeah, I'm taking.
That's
Philly.
how I know you've never seen a Philly mom. Nobody.
I mean, it is in Jersey, so maybe
nobody wants those.
The ones that'll travel.
Craig Brooks, Philly Jets. Who are you taking?
Yeah, it's Philly all the way here. I think it's going to be not able to be trapped. But that would be the defense to maybe slow them down. But I don't know. I don't see it. And I think it's got to be Philly. What's the spread on that one, Mike?
According to Yahoo, that spread is 7 even.
Okay. Yeah, Philly all day for me.
7 feels low. I guess their defense is okay, but 7 feels low. Detroit versus Tampa. Give me Detroit. I think the fucking Lions, man, they are doing shit. I love it. Craig Brooks, hit me with it.
Tampa Bay going to win the game. I think we're going to see that. We're going to see that there's a little more truth to what's going on in that offense. I think Baker's the right guy for what they've got going on. And I think Detroit is good and is going to win that division, but there's going to be 2 more across the next 5-6 weeks losses that we wouldn't think they should have, so that there's more negativity on all things Lions, where people keep being like, no, they're not the brand new Lions. They're not, but then they will be by the end of the season. Cause that's how you'd write it. You can't have them
that is how you write it. You need the escalation into.
We're only in act 2.
Mike Thomas.
Sorry. Do it.
No, you're good.
Well, I was going to say that I really like Detroit this year. I think they're playing great. I think they're a good football team, and my instinct would be to take them here, but I am punch drunk, and I'm going to take Tampa Bay at home. That's what I would have said
Craig.
until Craig also took Tampa Bay. So now I know I'm not punch drunk. I'm just being dumb.
Turns out I'm a moron.
I'm bringing up the rear in the pick'em. But I am leading single day fantasy challenges.
You are 114 pick week away from being in the league.
I do think that's all it takes, but this will not happen this week because Mike took a lot of the same picks I took because he's obviously been following my picks.
It's true.
It shows. Giants versus Buffalo.
Come on.
Buffalo could play blindfolded and probably still win this game.
In Buffalo.
I'm pretty sure DJ is not playing, which is really the only hope you have. Tyrod revenge game. He's a little old for that. Got dinged up last week in 10 plays. Not going to be great. Tommy DeVito is going to see the field in this game.
Oh, shit.
And Buffalo is going to ravage the New York Giants in an unsexy way. Give me Buffalo by a billion.
Craig unwatchable, possibly. I'll be on.
No way.
I'll be on the Miami
this should have
game.
Been flexed out.
If Miami's probably 1:00, so I'll be on that anyway, and then flip.
This is Sunday Night Football.
Excuse me, Buffalo, New York.
This is Buffalo versus the Giants. Is Sunday Night Football.
Oh, bum skis. So here's the upside. Yeah. You get to watch a good crew, a good coverage crew. Enjoy that, and fantasy wise, people with Buffalo. Maybe you know what I'll do. You know what I'll do? I've got Saquon, who's supposed to be back this week, so that'll keep me going.
He's supposed to be
I'll
back.
start some Buffalo player. I don't have any good ones, but I think I have Latavius Murray or something. I'll just to feel something. I'll put him in a lineup, and I'll do a couple $2, $3 DFS with my winnings.
Smart. It's a good play. Mike Thomas, who you got?
You mentioned Tyrod's too old to have a revenge game, and you're right. He doesn't have revenge games anymore. He has "I'm just happy to see you" games. So he's just going to be really excited to go up against a familiar face. Yeah, Buffalo's going to win this one. I don't think it's going to be all that competitive.
It's not. Dallas versus Chargers Monday Night Football. Austin Eckler's back. Justin Herbert sprained his middle finger on his non-throwing hand. He's wearing a glove, taping it up, I assume. I'm going to take the Chargers here. I think Dallas is on their way down. I am a self-professed Chargers fan this season. I bought a hat, so I'm committed.
That's it.
And I love Justin Herbert. I'm unapologetic about that. And I drafted Austin Eckler in my fantasy league over Christian McCaffrey, so I feel like I need to cheer for them. I realize that. But I'm going to take the Chargers over Dallas.
Who does that?
I think
you're the only human.
Dallas is... No, I've a bunch of people.
No,
he was
48% of the pick'em league,
higher than McCaffrey in all drafts.
I don't think that's true.
His average pick was okay. Well, I'm just telling you what ESPN told me.
They lied to you.
They didn't, but yeah, I like the Chargers over Dallas. Dallas losing Diggs has made their pass secondary not good. And I think they're giving up like the 5th most yards a game through the air or something since he went down. And the Chargers are real good at making the ball throw good. And yeah, give me Chargers here. Mike Thomas, who you got?
I am also going to take the Chargers because they're the home team, and I do not trust a injured Dallas to go on the road and face anybody at this point.
Yeah, and the San Fran game was not good to their bodies, so I'm concerned about that. But
no, that's the type of game where you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to not go on the internet this week and eat a bagel and lox and just hope to kind of center myself again.
Craig Brooks.
Dallas by 10.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Bet on it. You'll win. They have way more to prove and way more to kind of work off of momentum-wise than the Chargers coming off a bye.
I will say Dallas does have better coaching, but that is not an indictment of Dallas's coaching staff. That is not praise to Dallas. That is just saying the Chargers are run by a dummy.
He's going to make mistakes in a key moment, and they're gonna be close, miss an opportunity, and Dallas defense is going to come up big and score late. 10-point victory, Cowboys.
Strong disagree. Bye week teams this week are the Packers and Steelers. Those are our picks and a lot more info than you were probably expecting about Lamar Jackson and among others. I hope you guys enjoyed what we had to say this week. Do us a favor and like, comment, and subscribe on this video. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us, and we will see you all back here next time.